We'll go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone, and thank you very much for joining. My name is Andrew Saluk, and I'm your host for today's webinar, Automotive Marketing Strategies, Automated Marketing Strategies that Drive ROI. We have outstanding presenters for you today. With me is Vin Solutions Marketing Director, Mike Sheehan, and Joshua Tott, who is our Senior Lead Product Owner for AMP. Thanks for being with us here today, Mike and Josh.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, this is going to be great, guys. Thanks for assembling information from customers, from marketing account managers, and we'll get into all of that. But just a few housekeeping items before we get started. All the attendees have been muted, but if you have questions throughout the session, please put them in the go-to console on the right-hand side of your screen. We'll take 10 to 15 minutes at the end for questions. We have also added a few resources to the handout section of the webinar, which include a case study, a one sheet with action items that you can act on immediately. We're going to talk about a little bit today, and then a link to the PowerPoint deck itself. And we will also send a recording of this presentation after the webinar. That'll happen automatically, so you can forward it to someone on your team who maybe wasn't able to attend live. And with that, let's get started. Take it away, Josh and Mike.
Thank you, Andrew. And again, thanks everyone for joining us in here today. Let's go ahead and take a sneak peek at our agenda and see what we're going to spend the next 30 minutes or so talking about. Got a couple high-level things we're going to dive into. Habits of our top performing AMP dealers, driving targeted engagement and ROI, following up effectively on those lost leads, using your existing data for omni-channel campaigns, and then Mike and team have been working on something special over the last few months, and we're going to give you a sneak peek at AMP 2.0. So with that, let's just kind of dive right in and start talking about what do top AMP dealers do a little bit differently. And Mike, I'm going to turn the mic over to you here. Just walk us through, what do you see and where's success coming from?
Yeah, absolutely, Josh. And again, thanks everybody for joining today. I'll give you a little bit of my background and have Josh do the same so that you know kind of our perspectives on our roles and responsibilities and how we think about this space. I've been in the car business, started as a salesman at a dealership in 2008. Been with Cox Automotive coming up on 14 years now. And I've spent the majority of my time working with our engineering teams, helping build products like AMP. And most recently, for the last couple of years, I've been the director of one-to-one marketing, which means my team is the team of account managers. So whoever your AMP account manager is part of my team, and our job is to make sure you get the most success out of this product and out of your investment with us. We know we take that very seriously. And so I'm really more of the execution arm for how we use the things that Josh's teams built. Josh, you want to do a quick overview of kind of your role?
Yeah. So my name is Joshua Tott. I am with our product development group. So my job, where Mike works on the execution side, we're commonly listening to all the feedback and trying to identify the problems that you all still have, developing solutions that are easy to use and implement to fix those problems. So we've been listening over the years, and we've arrived at AMP and many more things to come still, but I've been with Cox Automotive for about 12 years. I spent the first 7 of those working in our client technical support center. So for 7 years, I heard from our dealers every day the struggles they were having reaching their clients, trying to get those OEM manifest lists in, trying to drum up those sales each and every week before jumping over and joining the marketing product team about 5 years ago.
Absolutely. Thanks, Josh. And so that gives you a little context from kind of where each of us is coming from. My team's in front of all of you dealers every day, all day, talking about your problems, talking about how our solution can help. And we wanted to start with, like, what can you do differently? What can you as a dealer do differently or potentially do better to get better investment out of AMP? At the end of the day, in the entire world of automation, and all the things that are going on in 2026, the large majority of people still buy cars from people. And that is reaffirmed with me as I talk to our dealers regularly. Customers want automation. Customers want self-service. They use all of these products. You see all these products on the screen behind me, right? And a lot of them are to enable the consumer to move and choose their own adventure. But at the end of the day, they are going to have questions, and they're going to need to speak with someone at your dealership. And that's why we've got work amp leads as number one. This is the these 5 things are the true difference between dealers who get a lot of performance out of AMP and dealers who get more average performance out of AMP. Many of our opportunities go untouched by the sales staff, and we work these leads. We send you these leads. We send buying signals tasks. Okay, so Auto Trader, Kelly Blue Book, and the dealer.com network, whether you're a dealer.com dealer or not, we bring all of that data together, and that is the true power of Cox Automotive, is that we know when your customers are shopping and what they're shopping for. But I would challenge you to go look at your own system, go look at your own CRM, and as a general manager, general sales manager, I think you will find that you have some opportunity inside of your store. Once the automation brings you Josh and says Josh is looking for a Jeep Grand Cherokee, somebody's got to get a hold of him and work that conversation, drive that engagement, get that appointment, and close that deal. Because at the end of the day, still in 2026, we believe that people buy cars from people. And Josh, I think number 3 and 4 are really kind of in your realm, just very important to the engineering and just the inner workings of the product.
Right there with you. And number 3 is huge to any successful marketing platform you're going to use. Keep your DMS sync clean. And really what this boils down to is if you have good data, we have good data to work with, and the automation can work that much better. But if you're finding that your data is using fake email addresses, or you have team members who are just kind of plugging stuff in to make sure we hit the metric, it's going to reflect inside of your marketing. You're going to see a lower performance. So use your CRM every day, make sure things make it into the DMS when they should, and most importantly, make sure that your DMS and your CRM sync back to each other and that report's clean. The next part of this is, a lot of people think email marketing is still the best answer to everything that we do, and it's really powerful, but it's not the full toolkit. And we have a wide variety of shoppers that exist in the market today. Dealers who are only running email leave a lot of shoppers on the table. Mike, I know we're probably going to dive into this here in just a little bit, but our dealerships that we see using multiple channels have exponentially greater ROI, and believe it or not, direct mail, or just the idea of sending a consumer a postcard, is insanely effective when it comes to grabbing that consumer's attention and pointing them towards your dealership for their next transaction. 5th piece here, and this doesn't sound like it would be a big technical thing, but I will tell you all, meet with the Cox account team regularly. We are frequently putting new things out there, and of course, we always try to communicate out to you as a broad group, hey, here's the new features and functionality of Cox, but there's a bunch of stuff going on in this world, and that account team can show you not only what have we done, but how is it going to help your workflow overall and help you find the right customer at the right time with the right message.
Yeah, and I think, just to double down on that, performance management is a key tenet of Cox Automotive's belief in how we service our dealers. And so by being a VIN Solutions and an AMP dealer, you actually have 2 performance managers specialized. So you've got a VIN Solutions performance manager who's really specialized at how you should use that tool to manage your business, manage your sales department, stay on top of the reporting. And that's really kind of the first number 3 things here. And my team is the account managers, and their job is to make sure that we understand what's going on in the store, we understand what's going on around your business, and we're executing marketing that is going to drive customers to engagement. And that's going to be super important as we jump to the next slide here and we start thinking about targeting. And Josh, we were talking recently about the importance of targeting versus kind of, funny saying of carpet bombing, right? Just blasting your entire database. And this talks to what we're seeing in the difference.
Well, that's exactly right. So what we continue to see from a lot of dealerships is just that statement of, I want to email every single person that's in my database every single month. And it's that concept of more email going out means that we should see more customers coming in. But when you flip that around as a consumer, right? When I go shopping for a car, I may look at 2 or 3 dealerships. I may end up looking at 4 or 5 websites. And now I have each one of these entities constantly emailing me every month, even though I'm not in a position to go buy a car again. And so I'm just getting disengaged more and more and more. And multiple studies, both within and outside of Cox Automotive, show that engaging the customer with the wrong message at the wrong time leads to them disengaging from your dealership entirely and closes the door of communication. So more is not actually better in this situation. Finding the right message at the right time will get you a lot more traction. Mike, you and I remember the days of the Sunday newspaper ad going out where it shows every single vehicle that's ever been on the lot or that we're trying to push that month. But this is another fun piece that I think your teams have really been working through in trying to figure out how do we get the right message there and what content should we put in it. Any thoughts as we talk about one offer per email and kind of what you guys have seen there?
Yeah, and it is a change, and it's a mental shift in the car industry, and it's been growing since I've been in the industry 18 years, right? The control is very difficult for a dealer to retain. And I remember when I got taught, how to sell cars, make sure you control your customer. Well, that's even harder to do when they're not in your showroom, right? We don't throw the keys on the roof anymore of their trade-in, right? And that continues to change in 2026 and beyond. The reality is, if I get a message about some car that you've got or some incentive, I'm not going to go buy a car because of that. It's a $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 purchase. We all know it's the second largest purchase in people's lives. And if I'm not shopping for a car, I don't need that information. It's not relevant to me. And so what ends up happening is you send these messages to consumers who aren't engaging, and then inbox providers, Gmail, Yahoo, they stop delivering all of your messages because they look at your messages and say, people don't want this from Sheehan Ford. And so they stop sending everything to my inbox, and that's how you start ending up in spam. And so we're gonna get more into this, but that use the data that we have. We have, again, all of this data. We know who's shopping. We know what they're shopping for. Let us be very targeted around when we talk to them and what we say to them. Sending out the newspaper ad, as Josh said, we continue to see diminishing returns. And as a matter of fact, it's probably damaging your ability to talk to customers who want to hear from you more than it's gaining you engagement with customers who wouldn't have otherwise. And so let's continue this conversation as we talk about this and we talk about leads, right? And on the next slide, we start to talk about lost leads. These are actual customers who reached out to you, okay? They sent in an internet lead, wherever it came from, and 79% of those leads close within 7 days, okay? After day 7, you've got less than a 10% chance to sell them a car. So if they ever buy a car, 80% sell in the first 7 days. I'll tell you what, 60% sell in the first 3 days. So really, you've got 3 days. If you are not driving a valuable conversation with that customer, your chances are extremely diminishing returns. You can see day 2. And we did this on internet leads, not walk-in leads, not phone leads, but true internet leads where we know when the lead came in. It's not just when the salesperson entered them. That doesn't mean there's no opportunity here, though. right? It just means that your chances of selling a car are so low now that we don't recommend that's where you focus your salespeople or BD agents. We recommend that you focus them on those fresh leads. You've got to start that conversation in the first couple of days. Your internet response time is more important than ever. The stats that we have, if you just look at the recent Cox Auto Journey study, shoppers are sending in an average of 1.6 leads before they buy a car. That means that a lot of customers send in one lead and they are ready to buy. That process needs to be well refined, reported on, so that you can make sure that your customers are being handled the way that you want them to. And then Josh, here on this, as we talk about the long tail, that's where a lot of the automation that you've built comes in that really allows us to make it easier on the dealership staff.
It really does. And as we just kind of take a look and jump ahead to the next slide, it talks about what your edge here is, and it is the Cox Automotive data and your data blended together. So again, it's a partnership between both of us, but you all know your customers better than anybody else will know your customers. You know what's going through your service lane, and Cox Automotive has its own hand in a bunch of places, kind of helping to track and figure out what's going on. Using these targeted approaches though, right, keeping a clean eye on what's coming next, we're seeing AMP engage the customer at the right point, and we're seeing lifts in really big areas. Lease end returns have a 27.4% close rate, as it says right there, which when you think about as a dealer, there's both capturing that business again, getting that new car sale done, but then also replenishing your certified or used inventory lot to try to get that second sale without the hassle of going to auction or trying to find that vehicle somewhere else out in the marketplace. Those buying signals that we collect, right? So we are constantly out there trying to tie your customers' activity to your website, to what's going on inside your CRM. Well, when we identify that customer and say, hey, they are in market or they are getting ready for it, and we start engaging them, 5x overall, right? We are able to engage them. We're able to get the right message to them. We see them transact a lot faster, and we see them transact with a dealer versus sending out 3, 4, 5 leads. And then, Mike, you kind of hit it on the lost leads previously, but as we continue to see customers put something in, we get past that 3-day mark, that 7-day mark. There's been this age-old philosophy that we need to follow this customer for 30, 60, 90 days and have the BD department or a sales rep call and text and email, and it's just wasted manpower. This is where AMP really does deliver a huge amount of value, because we just pick up on it and start to deliver that catered message that makes sense. Do we see them backing away from the market? Do we see them starting to look at a different vehicle? Do we see them going somewhere else? And help you as a dealer engage that customer and try to get them back into your showroom overall. So, it's not just Cox Automotive magic. It's a blend between us and the dealer, but putting it together with the right strategy, I think you'd agree, really does drive some pretty amazing results.
And yeah, and Josh, on that lost lead, right? Like, look at that appointment close rate. These customers aren't saying not never, they're saying not now, right? And so if they say, you know what, I'm going to wait a week, I'm going to wait a couple months, I know that is against every fiber in my body as a desk manager to say, yeah, he's going to come back later. But the reality is you don't have the same control over these customers through digital, right, as you do with somebody in your showroom, right? If they came into your showroom, they're probably pretty serious about buying a car. But people go on, they tinker around with their trade-in, they tinker around with what they're looking at, and then something happens. My daughter graduates and I got to throw a party, and then and I put it on hold because I don't have an immediate need. And it's important to think about this as like, let's meet the customer where they are, because we're not going to force them to make a $30,000 transaction. And what we're seeing here is that by waiting and we keep you in front of the customer, we run much lower frequency, much lower touch point campaigns. When we see them, because of all the Cox Automotive data, when we see them start shopping again, that's when we put them back into the high octane stuff. And those appointments are closing because those are the customers who, they were excited and then they kind of cooled off and then they get back in the market. And that's the time to hit them, not when they're down at the bottom of that. So lots of exciting results. This is one of our newer campaigns. And we're going to talk a little bit. We talked some, but we're going to talk again. Like, what can you do this week as an AMP dealer? And honestly, I'll tell you what, you can do almost all of this even if you're not an AMP dealer. So if you're a VIN Solutions dealer, Josh, talk a little bit about buying signals. We have the buying signals tasks. We have reporting on all of these things. You've been around our CRM for, like you said, 12 years. How do I make this happen in my system?
And this is with or without AMP, right? So like most of this stuff that you guys see here, you could jump into today just with VIN Solutions, but start getting into the Insights reporting platform and taking a look at your buying signals reports, taking a look at your task completion reports, take a look at the processes surrounding them and see if they make sense, because we hear from a lot of dealers that I don't love when a lead's auto-created from a buying signal, but I want to know what's going on. Well, AMP handles that super gracefully, but if you just want a quick dance, there's some good things you can do in the CRM. The biggest question there is, are you getting these signals and actually trying to do anything with them? Because these are consumers that we can statistically tell you are within 30 days of getting ready to buy a car. So we're giving you the heads up, trying to let you get out there ahead of it. But we may just be leaving customers sitting out there that may or may not come to your dealership. You see that buying signal, though, make sure you activate that customer as quickly as you can.
And Josh, one thing here. Sorry, cut in, buddy.
No.
Just something that comes up a lot is, I know we're all very, very busy. Train your people, and if you don't know how to train your people, like go to AI, go to some AI platform and ask it, right? Hey, I've got a vendor who's telling me these customers are shopping, but they didn't contact you, right? I didn't send you a lead. And one of the number one mistakes we see is the salesperson's like, hey, Josh, I see you just sent in a lead. And Josh is like, I didn't send in a lead, because the salesperson is not trained how to have that conversation. And now that salesperson's like, oh, these leads are junk. They're no good. When reality is, hey, Josh, I saw that gee whiz, I can't believe it's been 3 years since you bought a car. Or, hey, I was just thinking about you the other day. We got some new Civics in. I know we were talking about that 6 months ago. I don't have to tell them, right, in email or text or whatever you can get a hold of the customer with. But work that conversation using the context. And as Josh was saying, right there on the customer dashboard, if you've got buying signals, you're going to see what the customer was doing, what automates a lot of this, but much of this could be done even without AMP. And I want everybody to buy AMP, let's be clear, but just in case, we want to make it relevant for everybody. I think we talked a lot about the DMS sync. On both of these, I would also encourage you to make sure you're talking to your performance manager. We have reporting on your DMS sync, but again, Josh, you talked about the Insights dashboard. We've got a report right there that lets you see what's going on with the DMS sync. And Josh, kind of put you on the spot a little bit, because some of your peers just made some significant improvements to this DMS sync. And just remind everybody of why it's so important and what it does in the system.
Yeah, so DMS sync is a really technical term, right? But why do I as a dealership care? And this is the doorway for equity mining solutions. So if you do not have your DMS sync set up, we're not getting those accounting records. We don't know what that car actually sold for. We can't go get an equity calculation and tell you, how's Mike sitting in his current car? Is he flooded underwater and it's probably best to send them a service message? Or could Mike actually drive off in a better car for a lower price because of his equity position today? Another big area just to hit as you guys are thinking about, again, that used part of your lot, what's coming through your service lane? And your DMS sync is going to pull all that information into the CRM, all that information into insights, and give you good dashboards that you can just look at and see, hey, what's actually coming through, without having to go pull it from 17 independent systems and break out Excel and try to tie it together. And again, if at any point you guys are like, I don't know if I fully understand the data, I would recommend just throwing it into your AI tool of choice. It's pretty handy to help break it out. Or even better, call your account manager, schedule 30 minutes, sit down. I would love to hear the feedback if it's not making sense to you, because we are going to continue to try to put the best data that we can in front of you, but we always want the feedback of, is it making sense or not? So as you're in there looking around, whether it be my team or another one, tell us what you're seeing, tell us if it makes sense, but do make sure your DMS is always sending that service lane data and that sales data back into your CRM, because you will lose out on equity mining and good service opportunities if you don't.
Yes, thank you.
That sounds really basic, and it kind of is, but it's a quick
really
thing that
is,
you can do.
Please, like, if you take something away, go look at your CRM DMS matching report. We're gonna give you some time back if you were planning on being here for an hour, and just go check that report. And every deal that shows there that's unmatched, Vin Solutions, AMP, any of our products cannot do their full job because we don't have that finalized deal structure. And we use that for sold follow-up, we use it for equity, we use it for leasing, we use it for everything. So that is critical. And again, talk to your performance manager. And so as we talk about, like, what's the future of AMP, everything we just said is the basis for what we're doing with AMP 2.0. And when we talk about AMP 2.0, it is the same technology. We have just supercharged how we're implementing it. And you're going to see, right, everything we just talked about. And AMP 2.0 is really built to focus on all of those learnings. We sent 200 or 300 million marketing messages last year across all of our Cox Automotive and AMP dealers. We have all of the performance data. We know what's working. And when I talked about those internet lead performances, we analyzed 56 million leads across every dealer, anonymized it, didn't matter where you were, anything like that. But these trends, we're looking at such large data sets that they are statistically relevant. And Josh, we've built these tools over the years, and you've had a front row to everything that we've considered and everything that we've built here. Which ones of these stand out to you?
As we look across, just what's right here, the omni-channel one is always the one that sticks the most to me, because shoppers engage in so many different ways nowadays. Meeting the shopper with the right message at the right time. I've said it probably 15 times there, but that transcends just the channel. I mean, how many of us out there have a different email box that we use specifically for stuff that we know we're going to get marketing promotions for? And so by finding ways to engage a customer, whether it be via text, whether it be via a piece of direct mail, which, man, Mike, you can recall the first time we started talking about that, I was just like, there's no way a postcard is going to drive that much change. And as we dug deeper and deeper and deeper, we saw that it is just dramatically changing the ROI of these customers and making them sticky to a dealership, not just an OEM brand, because you're in their house, you're in their mailbox, you're getting the right message out there. The other one that I think we're going to continue to see a lot of is lost lead follow-up. So, if you guys go look at any one of the Cox Automotive dashboards, I'm a huge fan of the Auto Market Snapshot. And it paints a pretty clear picture that a lot of consumers are struggling to get into a new vehicle. Cost of vehicles are high. Credit is extremely expensive to go out and get right now. And so they are doing that thing where, hey, I think I saw a good incentive, but I start to do the math and I'm feeling a little queasy. And like Mike said, you have another life event that comes up and you put that on the back burner. Well, stay with that customer. Continue to follow them because their desire for a new car hasn't changed. The reason they didn't immediately transact is what we need to start to unearth and uncover and then tailor the right message there. Those would be the two big ones that I'd go after. But Mike, you are an operational guru, and your team comes up with some amazing strategy. What did I miss?
No, I think you hit it, and I am going to put operational guru on my LinkedIn page. So thank you for that. I'll ask for a recommendation. But let's jump to this next slide, and we're right at time here. We'll take some questions, but early pilot results. So AMP 2.0 is available now. We spent over a year tearing apart the entire way we use the technology, rebuilding the audiences and the definitions, rebuilding the workflows, rebuilding the content. And I could have talked to you for an entire half hour about all the exciting things that we're doing, but I'm hoping that will drive you to go talk with your performance manager, talk with your marketing account manager, and lean in, because we have a very strong playbook. We've been piloting this for just over 6 months. We are sending 6 times more volume to customers who have high intent, buying signals, actively shopping, casually browsing, ready to buy. That means, again, all the data we talked about, we're sending those customers 6 times the messages. Previously, we'd send 1 message a month and let them chill. Now we're saying, well, wait a second. We sent you a message yesterday. You went to Auto Trader again today. You're still shopping, right? And we have that near real-time data integration with our Cox Automotive ecosystem that allows us to really target these customers. And previously, if you would have talked to Josh and I, because we helped build this thing way back when, we would have been freaked out if you said send 7, 8, 9 emails to one customer in 1 month. But what we're seeing is, since we're driving it so much more off of when the consumers are engaged, 23% open lift, right? They're opening more of our messages, and we're sending 6 times more on average. And our lead to sale conversion rate is way up. So AMP 2.0 is being rolled out in waves. I don't have timelines yet, but if you're listening to this and you're interested, I think we're going to jump to questions now. But again, get with your performance manager, get with your marketing account manager, and let's make sure we've got the absolute best configured for you, because we got a lot of cool stuff going on.
That's really well put, Mike. And thanks to you and Josh for sharing your insights here. Let's go ahead, folks. If you have any additional questions, we've received some already, but please use the Q&A section, the Q&A widget in your GoToWebinar console, and let's get into some of these questions. So one question that came in: does your advice change at all if you're talking about ICO leads versus, say, somebody shopping on Auto Trader or that's been browsing around a dealer.com website?
You want me to take that one, Josh?
To be clear, I don't feel like my advice changes there dramatically, besides to tell you that customer is even more interested in engaging with you, because now they're indicating, I want a number on my car because I want to start doing the math on buying a new car. So I would tell you to go after them with a bit more feather, but Mike, interested in your thoughts here too?
Yeah, so if you're not familiar, VIN Solutions launched a vehicle acquisition workflow in the CRM. And that is to address a pain point that we've had for a long time. Somebody sends me an ICO lead. How do I mark I bought that car or I traded for that car? Many of our dealers are not dispositioning those leads properly. I know it's a new muscle, but everybody wants to buy cars from their engaged customers, right? You get better trade-ins. You don't want to go to the auction. You don't have to pay fees. Sorry, Mannheim. But, right, like, you want to get those cars from your local customers, right? And number one, automate as much as possible. Those KBB leads have an even longer time. I think their average is about 45 days because it's early in the process when you start thinking about your trade-in. You're trying to get a number. And then one of the things that I used to do that I just loved was in the showroom, we made ICO part of our trade-in process. We generated an ICO on every customer who came in just because we could let Kelley Blue Book be the source and say, hey, that's not my number. I'm just telling you what they said. And it makes that negotiation a little bit smoother. So that's a little bit of internet and marketing and showroom advice that I would give.
That's great, Mike. And just to your point, that vehicle acquisition capability is rolling out in phases to dealers. So you'll be notified as it's getting rolled out to your account. And Josh, thanks for your comments there as well. And so, do you have any advice when we're thinking about which campaigns we want to target and maybe how we want to set filters to target those customers? Do you have any advice for understanding how customers are included in campaigns, or how you should determine where to include customers in different AMP campaigns or prioritize them for different AMP campaigns?
Yeah. So I would tell you that today I'm more confident than ever that I would advise you to let us advise you. We have rebuilt everything based on consumer data, based on conversion data, and using AI to generate content segments, everything. So AMP 2.0 out of the box is Cox Automotive's best in class answer. And we showed you some of the results. And trust me, I had to go through a lot to be able to show you those results because we don't show results lightly. So I am confident in these results. I would ask you to listen to the recommendation of our performance managers, listen to the recommendation of our account manager, and let us focus on the automation, because at the end of the day, I believe that you're paying us for an outcome. You are paying us to deliver engaged customers, and we know what works, and we also know what doesn't work. And the dealers that we see struggle a lot, you're going to take this newspaper out of my cold dead fingers, right? Like, we've got to change that because we know the consumer behavior is working and changing. And then I would encourage you to judge us on our results. Again, you're paying us for an outcome. Get on AMP 2.0. Allow us to implement what we know works based on the data and large sample sets. And then let's have a conversation in 30 or 60 days. And if we're not delivering results for you, my door is wide open. I'll be happy to come talk to you. But I am confident in the configuration that we have today.
And Mike, just to touch on that, to your comments around the Sunday news ads, can you talk a little bit about why that might be impacting chances with interested buyers, or what's changing, to your point?
Yeah. I just mean, like, I'm not saying don't do print. I'm not saying don't do billboards. What I'm saying is don't take those strategies into the digital marketplace because it's different, right? And real world story. I replied stop to like 7 texts just this weekend. Somebody wanted to buy my house. Somebody wanted me to do so. I hit stop, right? And that stop, especially for a car dealer, is worth a lot of money because I'm going to buy another car. My car's due for service. And so if you lose the ability to contact me because you've done something that I'm not interested in, you probably miss some money in the future because I'm going to need something, right? Cars are cyclical. We need those. It's not like me buying a pair of Jordans one time. Although I buy lots of Jordans, by the way, just a little personal information.
Very impressive shoe collection. One thing I do want to add in there is, Mike, you talk about how you all have built best in class, and it has been really fun watching you guys as you strategize and leverage the functionalities of AMP and what we built to create these micro segments. But as Cox, we give you guys multiple solutions that you could do marketing with. So when you're talking about creating those audiences, man, everybody wants it to be an easy button that you just go in and click, and then all of a sudden I get to launch my campaign. But a lot of what is making AMP so successful is the automation around these micro segments. So we're not targeting 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 people with the same message. We're targeting a couple hundred people here, a couple hundred people there, and across these 17 small buckets, we're getting the right message out. So, could you do it using another one of our tools? Absolutely. But you're going to lose out on the automation side, which means every month you're sitting down to start rethinking about those same groups over and over and over again. So if you don't trust our results on AMP, I would encourage you to check out either our target or campaign solution, where you can get to some of these groups, but you're just going to find yourself spending a lot of time trying to hit those groups with the right message. So work with your account managers, work with your performance managers. Let's take a look at AMP. Unless you all just have time to burn, in which case, man, good on you.
Yeah, it's a great point, Josh. And then the other thing I would say is, if you are an AMP dealer or you're not an AMP dealer, talk to us. You're all VIN dealers, and if you're not a VIN dealer, you should buy VIN. But talk to us, and we'll give you the AMP 2.0 playbook. We'll show you exactly what we're running. We have 35 purpose-built campaigns. We can show you the content. It's a lot of work. Like Josh said, it is a whole lot of work. But we can give you the playbook, and we're happy to share our insights, as always, with our dealer partners.
I think that brings up another really good point. If we think about what types of conversations to have with your marketing account manager or your performance manager. So imagine you're a dealer, Josh. Would you be going into those meetings asking about things like new templates, new available campaigns? What are the sorts of questions you would be asking your marketing account manager routinely to drive results?
If I was a dealership partner with Cox, I would be walking into that meeting every month going, what's working and what's not, right? There's a lot of things that we hang on to because we just think they work and they're not underperforming, but that doesn't mean that we're not watching the horizon to see what's overperforming or what's coming next. And that's where a lot of our operational teams spend their time, is in that strategy space, not just trying to put out the same thing that we did last 4th of July, but how do I get the right 4th of July or Memorial Day message out to a better audience this year so I can beat my performance last year? I'm always going to chase either growth in volume or growth in margin. And that's what I'd be talking to my account manager about every single month as I'm working with him.
And if you don't mind jumping on there, like that right there is exactly right? Like, we need to know, and it's our job to ask you, but what's going on in your store? What's going on in your neighborhood? What's going on? Like, do you need inventory? What are you trying to move? What are your challenges? What can we help you solve? And then if I was a dealer, every call I would want to walk away from saying, Josh, what can I do better? Right? Because there's a ton that you control as the dealer that makes this successful. And if you ask us, and even if you don't ask us, we're going to be happy to tell you, right, this is where you can help move the needle, because at the end of the day, the only thing that we want is you to be successful with our products. That is our only function, is for you to find success in your investment and partnership with Cox Automotive.
I think we can leave it at there. We've reached the end of our time. Big thanks to Josh and also to Mike for coming on and presenting some of the exciting new developments with AMP 2.0. I think you guys already hit this, but if you're a dealer who's using AMP now and you're interested in the migration to AMP 2.0, please make sure you talk to your performance manager, marketing account manager. Do you guys have any other words of wisdom before we close out?
Just thanks for your attention today. Thanks for joining us. My contact information is everywhere. My email address is mike.sheehan@coxautoinc.com. I love talking to dealers. You can find me on LinkedIn. Just really appreciate the partnership, and thank you for trusting us with your business.
Echoing a very similar sentiment, first name dot last name, so joshua.tot@cox.auto Inc. If you guys are finding that any one of our marketing solutions is not delivering the value that you're looking for, drop me an email, find me on LinkedIn. If you call our support group, they will also just hunt me down and come find me. I worked with them all for many years, so let us know. I'd love to hear from you, but conversely, just as Mike said, give us a call and talk about what we're doing, because we got some really fun things going on and we are seeing dramatic ROI come back from it. So would love the opportunity to chat with anyone who's not using one of these solutions today.
Well, Josh, thank you for that. I think we'll let you have the last word there. To your point, we thank the audience for joining us. And as audience, as you leave the call, we would really appreciate if you take part in the 3-question satisfaction survey as you exit. We want to make sure that these webinars meet your expectations and really address your needs and help surface the information that helps you sell more cars. So thank you for everyone for joining us. Hope you have a great week.